If this is your first time at Fordy Runs, make sure you smash that pink button down there that says subscribe on it. Go to our Facebook page and join the Fordy Runs running community, and check out the description below. There's loads of cool things. Right, so this is part 2 of my multi-marathon finisher series. Last week we had Stuart on, I think he said he's done the London Marathon 5 times. This week we've got Paul Kipax back on the channel. I love Paul, and he's done the marathon, I can't even remember how many times he's done, but he was on it last year, gave us some tips, but he's back on this year with some awesome tips that I think only people who have completed the London Marathon a few times can give us. So over to you, Paul.
Hi everyone, hope you're all well. I've been asked by Fordy to help out with a few hints and tips of our upcoming London Marathon, or any other spring marathons for that matter, particularly for any first timers. There could be some pretty good tips in the next few minutes coming up, so might be worth a watch. You never know, you might pick some quite useful hints and tips up. My name's Paul Kipax, or Kippy as I've become known from my school days. I'll be running for children with cancer this year, and this will be my 4th London and my 7th in total, as I will be doing Paris 2 weeks before London as well. So hopefully that goes well, so I'll hopefully be on the start line with you guys on the 28th. Okay. So we're into the last few weeks of training now before we start to taper for the big day on the 28th. Things to remember really are, if you are following a training plan, as most of you are, stick with it. Try not to deviate away from it too much. If you have missed any long runs early in February or March, don't try and catch up, because you just kind of, if anything, you're more likely to make it worse than better. So the temptation's always there to risk that extra little bit of training, but trust me, you're just going to become more tired, and by the time the taper comes, you're probably just going to be in a place where you don't really want to be in terms of training. As we get into the taper, things do become a little bit easier, a little bit less intense, so you start to feel a little bit more energized, a little bit more enthusiastic, because the hard work's literally out of the way now. We're just starting to, and as we're into the taper, that is also a frustrating time, often referred to as paranoia. Every little niggle, every little itch, scratch, whatever, it's on your mind. You can't sleep at night thinking, what's wrong with this, what's wrong with that? But there's nothing really wrong with you. It's just that your head doing things to you. I'm a big believer in this Baroka stuff. I find that helps my vitamin C levels topped up. Also, I like to carry the Vicks First Defence around with me. Slightest inclination of any cold after a long run, particularly a couple of days after that, I always feel a little bit run down. So I think just keeping your immune system topped up, not a bad idea as well. Try and keep your eating habits healthy as well. And hopefully by the time the taper comes around, another 2 or 3 weeks on the taper, we'll be ready to go on the start line on the big day. Okay. Also, in the last few weeks we've got before the big day, remember trying to work out what sort of clothing you might be wearing. Always advisable to sort of train in any gear that you might be wanting to wear on the big day. It's a tough choice really, because sometimes it can be quite cold and wet, and other times, if it's anything like last year, it's going to be an absolute scorcher, but I really hope it's not. I'm praying for 12 degrees and cloudy, but it might not happen. We'll see how we get on. So the trick is to try and train in a number of different outfits, one for sort of cool weather, one for sort of warm, and give the clothing that you intend to wear a good trial. Get some miles in it, get it softened up a little bit in the washing machine with use, and come the day, whichever option you need to choose, everything will be alright, because you'll know you've worn it before, and you want no special surprises on the day, which is the last thing you want. Early in April sometime, we shall generally get an email with a download, which will have our a number on it, which most of us generally know now, whether it be a charity or a ballot place. Quite important, you must take this number with you. It's like an email that registers who you are, a little bit of a questionnaire on it for charity as well. Fill that in, hand it over when you get to the Expo, and at the Expo when you go in, I think they call it a running show this year. When you walk through the doors, you can't get it wrong. There's lots of little booths with the numbers relevant to the number you're running at. So just walk up to the relevant booth. The staff are very welcoming and always happy to help out with you. They'll give you a little bit of a package with like an A4 size pack that's got your running number in it, final instructions, and a few other details, bits and pieces as well. Obviously you need your ID, so things like driving licence and passport, anything with a utility bill or anything like that that's got, ideally with a photo on it, is better than a utility bill letterhead, anything like that. And then they'll direct you over to another desk where you will get your timing chip, which is basically a bit of plastic, and it comes with little zip tie type things that just tie onto your shoe. That's the piece you need that obviously registers your time when you run over the starting mat, and every 5Ks I think they are, and at the finish line as well. So a nice little bit of memento you get to keep also. At the Expo there's also lots of things to do for kids and families, places to eat and drink, things like that. There's even a bar there, but go steady with that. Lots of activities, photo booths for the kids, and lots of stalls as well. Take your credit card, take your husband or wife and get them to buy you a few gifts. I'm sure they will do anyway, but everybody gets into the atmosphere. It's a very, very happy, cheery atmosphere at the Expo. Lots of things to do, and you can easily spend 2 or 3 hours there, even, you know, just mooching around, looking at the bits and pieces and chatting to folk that you've not met before. On the evening before the marathon, make sure you've got all your kit in place. You know, you use a particular type of sock and your vest and all things like that. Get your number pinned on, ready to go. Try it on if in doubt, and try your running belt, things like that. Make sure nothing's rubbing, things like that. Get everything set up, ready to go. Pop it on one side. Something we do pretty religiously before we go to bed on the night, and then often even do it before we go out for an evening meal. Keep it something fairly what you've used before, like pizza, pasta, nothing too fiery. You don't want too much spices on you on the night before. You never know, you're going to have a few issues next morning. It's not going to be ideal. Might make you run a little bit quicker, but obviously in the wrong direction sometimes. So keep it easy on the stomach the night before. I generally have a fairly basic cheese and tomato pasta or ham and mushroom pizza, something like that. Often have it with a salad, bit of garlic bread, and I do often have a cheeky pint as well, just to help wash it down and calm the nerves, but don't get too carried away if you do have a drink, you know. But I think the odd one is not going to do you any harm. So on the morning, you've had your breakfast, we're all set up. Generally, most of us have our kit on, ready to go, depending on what the temperature's going to be like. Pair of tracky bottoms, a hoodie or something like that over the top. This is the bag that you'll get given at the Expo. It's a reasonable size, but it's not ginormous, so you'd struggle to fit in one of those trolley bags that you take on a flight on holiday. This is the kind of size bag. It's like a kid's school bag type thing. I generally take all the bits and pieces, things like take my Savlon for the finish, that goes in there. I've got a flannel. I always take a flannel with me so I can, when I get a bottle of water at the finish, can rinse the flannel, give myself a wipe down. Body glides, very important. Always put lots of that on where you under your arms, around your legs, around your feet, everywhere. I even put some on my blooming eyelids these days, but there you go. That's just me. Put your bag inside this, and then it's much easier to carry it when you put it onto the baggage lorries at the start area. The baggage lorries are brilliant, so you've got a number and each lorry corresponds with a number you're wearing. So there's a big screen at the start area with a timer on it, and that will give you exactly how long you've got before the lorries depart. You don't have to be there half an hour before. It's pretty efficient, so within 10 minutes before lorry, if you run up to the thing, gently trot up. They're never far away, a few minutes walk, but they'll take the bag off you and it will be there ready for you at the finish line. Also, on the morning of the marathon, tend to put in some old tracky bottoms, not necessarily the ones you want to wear at the finish, so put some finish line clothes in your bag as well, you know, like your hoodie or your tracky bottoms, but also take some old stuff, thing like, same again, stuff you don't wear very often. If it is quite chilly in the morning, it's worth wearing the old stuff, and as you discard it when you're in the pens before you start, all that clothing gets collected and it gets donated to charities, which is a really nice thing that London Marathon do. So all goes to homeless charities and things like that, which is really nice. Bin bags are also quite a good idea. If the ground could be wet from the night before, where you're going to sit, you're going to have to sit on the wet floor if not. So take a couple of bin bags with you, one to sit on and one to pop over you to keep warm. Literally just rip a hole in the top, stick it over you. You'll look quite silly, but so will everybody else that's there. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to laugh at you. It's all good for banter and things like that. Also, take your energy drink. Take a few snacks with you, something to keep your food levels topped up, and then just before you make the way to the pens and drop your bag off, you'll be all set, ready to go, ready to run the 26.2. On the way to the start, when you come out of the hotel or wherever you're staying, Airbnb, whatever, you don't really need a plan of where you're going, but obviously it's wise to have a little bit of one. But the simple reason is you walk out the door, you'll look around and you'll see someone wearing lycra or a jacket or with a sort of carrier bag that you've seen that goes onto the baggage lorry heading towards a station or whatever. They won't be going the opposite way, they'll be going over towards Greenwich Park. So you can either buddy up with them and follow them, or just say hello, or get your own little plan. It's worth having a bit of an idea where you're going for obvious reasons, but generally most stations and tubes are all generally putting on, if you just follow someone, you'll get there. I promise you. You could literally walk out and just tag on with somebody. And if there's nobody there, you do get a final instructions magazine a few weeks before the event. Take it with you, print off what you need in terms of travel. It's a very comprehensive guide, I'm told, what overground trains, tube, DLR, everything. It will even tell you what's going to be on strike, because there's always a strike in place around London Marathon weekend. It's a bit of a tradition. Don't panic, because whatever is going to be on strike, it was the DLR last year, they got contractors in to drive it instead. There's always a backup plan with Transport for London, so don't worry. Give yourself plenty of time though. Don't be thinking, I can get there in 20 minutes and set off 40 minutes before that. I always like to get there a good hour, an hour and a half beforehand, so you kind of absorb the atmosphere at the start area. You're not stressed, you're there in plenty of time, you've got time to have a little bit more to eat, more to drink, top your levels up, pop to the loo or whatever, and absorb the atmosphere, because it's a truly great atmosphere at the start area. So it's worth spending a bit of time there rather than getting there as a mass panic and worrying about how you're going to get there. But plan ahead a little bit, but don't worry. If you just come out of the hotel, you'll be able to tag along somebody quite easily. Okay. So once you're in your start pen, ready to go, often takes 15-20 minutes, even longer, to get across the start line. Depending on where you are, if you're in pen 1 to 8, whichever, the later ones can take, I think it was 40 minutes last year before they went over the start line. Remember to start your watch. You'll see everybody doing that as you cross the line, and that will record your own time for your Strava account or Garmin account, whatever. But you see everybody doing that anyway, so you tend not to forget. But I did see a guy do it once, and it was about mile 3, I realised, so not what you want to be doing. Anyway, as you're going round, there'll be lots of photographers there, high-vis vests, so look out for them. They'll be there looking for you. If you see somebody with a high-vis vest on, give them a wave, give them a thumbs up, show what a great time you're having. Obviously, when there's nobody around, you can then be miserable and unhappy about how things are going. But when there's a camera there, give them a big smile, and everybody will smile with you as well. Also, as you're going round, there's a red carpet. I can't remember what mile it's at. It might be 12 or 13, even maybe later than that. But there's a red carpet you go over with a London Marathon logo on it, 2019. When you go over that, remember to look up, because there are lots of cameras pointing down. You can get some brilliant pictures by looking up and giving the cameras a big wave as you go past. So that's the red carpet. It's not at the finish, it's halfway around or near towards 20 miles or something like that. So look out for that one, and you'll see everybody looking up and waving. It's often missed, but worth getting a few pictures of that as well. When you get to the finish, obviously remember to stop your watch. There's a gantry with the number on. Remember to look up again. All the cameras are above you. TV cameras rolling. There'll be a good 6 or 8 photographer guys actually up in a gantry taking electronic pictures as well. So look out for those, give them a wave, and record some of your memories, because you know, when you've got 60, 70 images, they can all go onto a disc or downloads, whichever package you want to buy, and you've got memories that last a lifetime. You can edit them and do what you like with them once you've got them. So always worth buying the photo packages at the thing. I think that about wraps it up for me. So all the best, everybody. Have a great one, and I'm sure you'll be good. And I'll see you on the 28th.
Thanks very much, buddy. I appreciate you coming on the channel again, and good luck for whatever you're doing for the rest of the year. But that's it from me. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave me today. Check out, the Fordy Runs running community. I'm going to put the links down below, and I'll catch you guys later.